about small things. Leadership has to go further. That Singapore, the one we know today, at independence around the same time with Kenya and all of us seated here, those guys, we were at the same level. If you went somewhere and you saw a Chinese, a South Korean, and a Singaporean, you as an African, they would have paved the way for you to fast pass because you are wealthier than them. That one distinction, one thing, has led to all this difference. Leaders who are selfless, leaders who wake up in the morning to think about their countries, and leaders who do the right thing for our continent. I'm not talking about your presidents in many various African countries. I'm talking about the leaders in this hall today. So I was at the side of poverty, but I brought in here because even if we talk about many things, what is poverty? We measure it in various dimensions. GDP per capita, that's GDP per person. Income per capita, income per person. So if we are talking about a South Korean who is maybe 20 times richer than me. So I would rather then talk about South Korea and forget everything else. Because in our generation, they have been able to live better lives in multiples than all of us, including the years they live. Just because of leadership. But here at home, what do we do? When maybe those other leaders were thinking about their countries growing exports, establishing huge companies like Samsung and Hyundai, as around here, we were talking about who gets the bigger size of land. We were talking about our own children, how they go to Europe to study. Instead of bringing that Europe to our continent, we took a few of us there, and our continent still lags behind. We must break forth from this. And there is a bigger calling we have as church leaders. The bigger calling is to advocate for the right leadership in the African continent. The wealthiest country, the top 10 wealthiest country in the world. And they are here as the poorest, among the poorest in the world. We must not accept that as Africans. Even if we do whatever we want to do, in our own small ways, in our own cocoons, and we don't come out to propagate and to fashion and to demand for the right leadership, we are letting our continent down. So, poverty is where my point was. My brother here is in the UK, was in the UK. He will have a congregation of 10 people. They'll do something that will help much more than a congregation of 10,000. Why? Those people are empowered. Even if they are 10. I'm totally speaking Spartan about the money part. Because we talked about spiritual part. It's me to sit, you tell me. I can't tell you much about that because I'll be teaching the fish how to swim, which I don't want to go into that area. So, these people are empowered. So when we talk about we are poor and the other people are rich, what are we talking about? First of all, we are talking about they are able to afford necessities. They are no longer talking about where to sleep. They are no longer talking about where to go to school and healthcare. Their needs are higher. They are done with the basics. Then second thing, which is critical and important, and it's the same thing I started with in terms of education, is something called productivity per person. When we say Africa is not as endowed, and we compare an African with a South Korean, what are we actually comparing? South Korea has the same population as Kenya. Let me use Kenya as a laboratory here. So South Korea is in the ranges of 50 millions. Kenya is in the same range. So when we talk about the countries that are advanced, then what are we talking about? then Kenya should be the same as South Korea, because our populations is the same. And it's the people who matter. Then why are we different? Why are we different? It's because of the productivity per every person. The productivity of this South Korean vis-a-vis the productivity of this Kenyan, one is 20 times more. So what functions, what adds productivity per person? So that even as we do what we are doing in our own areas, we also focus on that. The number one thing is called technology. And technology comes from education. You can't talk about technology devoid of education. Information. Information is the one that brings technology that does things more efficiently. Where you go to Europe, you realize there is a person with a 10,000 acre farm with only 20 people tending after that farm. But you here, you have 2 acres, but you have 100 people tending after that farm. So what is the productivity per person there? Are we actually creating just social jobs, or are we creating productivity for our people? So that's how it comes in. So you go to Ethiopia, just like in Kenya. The biggest thing we are doing, which we are very proud of, we are creating, we are calling them EPZs, for people to go become tailors. Why? Because labor is cheapest in Ethiopia. So you look for the place people can do something for you almost for free. So that's where you go for it. And those are the things we come to chest dump as leaders, that we are creating jobs for our African people. We are not creating jobs. We are keeping them busy. Productivity per person is something that we must keep on propagating at the basic level education, at a higher level technology. That's where universities come in, and that is where we add the value of the person as the provider of labor. In economic interactions, a human being is the source of labor. An entrepreneur is the source of capital. So labor and capital interact. What the laborer gets is called wages, which you call salaries. What the entrepreneur gets is called profit. So you, as a provider of labor, you only get a higher productivity when there are more machines involved in your work. When you can only till your land with hands, your productivity per person is so low that you are a slave. So we talk about poverty, increasing productivity per person. The second thing, access to education. I talked about it before. It is our obligation to make sure that our societies are accessing education, including institutions, advocating in our various governments, that you are doing a lot of injustice to the people where you live, when there are still school-going children who are not going to school. I mean, it is our obligation, all of us, whether it's advocacy, whether it's actually doing it, we must do it. Of course, I talked about healthcare. I'll not buttress that point because I want to go to the last thing. Actual physical development, including the citation I gave you about here in Kenya, the schools we attended. It doesn't have to be permanent. Start a structure. Let people have somewhere they are calling a school. They'll talk about better infrastructure later as they proceed. Don't wait for you to get a story building. Even us, my grandfathers, my fathers never went to a stone walled building, but it was a school. So let's start from where we are. And of course, it's our work to make sure that we keep on bridging the inequality gap as the people in this hall. And it all boils down to leadership. Now, there are a few things I want to highlight here because I am not speaking for too long. Now, in our various areas, I've moved from the macro. Let me come to the micro in what we do specifically. One of the things that changed my mind are some seminars that used to be organized for us as youth by the church. So the church there is a revival fellowship called East African Revival Fellowship. So my mother belongs to East African Revival Fellowship. So they used to organize seminars for young people. Some have stuck in my mind ever since. Gentlemen would come, I am a doctor. So, I'm from a village, very humble place. So you are here interacting with a doctor. Person telling you they want to university. They started medicine. Then another one comes, teaching you about leadership. My transformation as a human being started there. Seeing people who are telling me things which ordinarily are not present in my village. So, all of us, let's learn. The institutions we run, they operate there for spiritual nourishment, but they shape the destinies of the communities you lead. The people believe the church has the solution for the legal problems they have, the financial problems they have, the education problems they have. I came here to tell you, you will not run away from that responsibility. I came to remind you, you shoulder it, God will provide. Those small things you do, just accelerate them. As the beacon of knowledge in the locality, in your country, it is your work to make sure that information is flowing. Any place where information is not flowing, those people are in darkness. When is the last time as a church, for your young men and ladies who come to your church, did you ever organize a career talk? Just for people to know there's a difference between a veterinary doctor and a medical doctor. Just for people to know, in this, there's something called computer science, and there is another one called electrical and electronics. You have traveled through aircrafts to come to Kenya, but there are so many people who just need that distinction. To know, just for information to flow, for this person to open up their mind. Open up their mind and know the world is bigger than my village. The person who should bring the world to their village is the people in this hall. Some of these things, I'm sure you know them. I'm reminding you because I know they're far-reaching. When is the last time you call people, not even with any machine or equipment, just for that person to talk to your congregation about healthcare? Just that. About you need to exercise, about intake of sugar and these other things, what they do to you. Economically, as I told you, a human being is a supplier of labor. The longer you supply labor, the more people you have living healthy lives, the more agents of the economy you have. Healthcare services, labor. The work of education is to add value to a human being. The work of healthcare is to service that labor. So, primarily the people you deal with, two things are very critical to them: education and healthcare. What do you do as a church in those two arenas? You may not have much to give, but there's a person who only needs that information. Even in I don't remember anywhere we went for a seminar, people talked and gave us books. How to be a good leader, how to do this. It is that word that was imparted to me that changed me, not the gift I received from those people. So, lastly, if there is one thing I talked with passion with, is about leadership. I go around my our constituency, and I have seen a correlation between schools that perform so well and the leadership of those schools. Leadership of a church and how the church turns out to be. Then it means leadership is very critical. What are you doing in your own way to make sure there are better burgeoning leaders from the communities you lead up to the country? If the community I was in, that church never organized that seminar, for me to go learn there is a bigger thing than my village, and to interact with the people who I would ordinarily not have interacted with at that level. If that never happened, would I be an asset to my community now? That's the reflection I want us to have. So those things, then the basis you are laying today, if you don't lay it, you'd rather look at it this way. You'd rather you grow 3 people. 3. Forget about a 10,000 congregation to say I have a big congregation. What if you touch 3 people? One becomes the best president for your country. The other one becomes a far-reaching education minister. The other one becomes the treasury CS or a cabinet minister in charge of money in your country. And you retire as a pastor. The decisions those people will make could be far-reaching than a congregation as big as you do want to count it. If you are here as a teacher shapes a human being. Maybe 10,000 people pass through the hands of that teacher. 10,000, they retire. Among the 10,000 becomes Deng Xiaoping or becomes General Park of South Korea. They change the fortunes of the entire country. Then it would have been better for this teacher not to be tied with heading 10,000 people and concentrate with this one who will change the society forever. And because you are not sure who is this one, then you have to do it to all. Only that you have to do it in such a manner that you are creating many General Parks. You are creating many Mwai Kibaki, one of the presidents we celebrate in this country. Because then what would it be? And we Africans, let's talk it direct. You are a teacher. Who taught the president in one of the wealthiest countries here in Africa. The person became president of that wealthiest country, but he read the most poor people in the world. As a teacher, what did you do to Africa? You messed our continent. So what am I trying to say here? We have an obligation here in this hall as our responsibility to grow the next cadre of African leaders from our community up. There's no African country president who jumps from Europe and comes here to lead us. They come from our community, become prefect in a school. Then after that, they go and start a business. In that business, they become wealthy through corruption. Then they get the money, and they come and bribe all the population. They become African leaders, and they go to AU. And then our countries depreciate and decay. The people to break that are in this hall today. And leadership, always remember, when you look at it up, it's a reflection of down. So we start from down here. That young man leading youth in our church, first of all, they are empowered by you to become leaders with integrity, leaders who love their countries, leaders who love our continent, leaders who are doing the right thing. They go to the university, they become the same people. It is the same people who will come back to become members of parliament, ministers, and presidents. The root of that is in this hall today. But as we wait for that, it is also the work of us in this hall to advocate that those who are already occupying those positions have to style up. If you as a leader here would stop a leader from committing something that would cost your country, $10 million, and you stop it out of your advocacy, even if you retire from work, you have done more than a person who have labored for 70 years. Because this money, the impact it will have in your own country is much bigger than you being a nice guy, a nice servant, who speaks nothing, who is at peace with everyone, but that peace is costing so many people out of their livelihoods. Advocacy, talking, offering alternatives, and breathing sense to even the leaders who are there now. Even if they are not very good, make them to be not so bad through your advocacy. Very last, I don't know whether it happens in many other African countries here, but us as leaders exploit our populations through tribalism. We come and remind you, you know, you come from this clan, eh? You know, you come from this tribe. The other people are your enemies. I don't know whether it is just Kenya or it happens everywhere else. That, out of self-interest, a leader comes to tell you, as a normal African, if I tell my brother to start, you who is not a Kenyan, you already know whether we come from the same tribe. Can you imagine? If I call one of my brothers from DRC, I ask you, who is Kenyan here and who is from Congo? You wouldn't know. We look the same. But during election time, some buffoon comes to us and tells us, you know, you are Sona, and this other person is this tribe, eh? So this is your enemy. Let's stop this nonsense completely. It is to whose benefit that we exploit those schisms? It is to the benefit of the person who wants to dominate you. When you have a country like General Park of South Korea, who even wants to care which tribe we came from? Who cares even? Who cares the tribe Nelson Mandela came from? I don't even want to care. Do you even want to care? But there is some fellow during elections time, you know those guys are this tribe, and us are this tribe. So what? It is our work, the people in this hall, to strengthen the fabric of our countries so that people do not continue to exploit them for leadership greed, so that we take it upon ourselves to bind our countries together in unity. When there is homogeneity, as the Bible says, when there is unity, there is a blessing. Even in terms of the fabric of a country, when there is homogeneity of the people are able to move in one direction together. And the best way to do that is to detribalize our countries, detribalize our continent, because we are one people. All these things that are brought to us to show us this person is different is hogwash. The very last thing I want you to carry home. I have done business since I was in first year in campus. And in fact, when I graduated from campus, and my parents came for my graduation, my mother was there with the friends. My son is graduating, you know, our African mothers. My son works with the AEA, you know. My son is in London. My son, I know now, some of you, your mother, in the groups they go. No, I was just from receiving the phone call from my brother who is now in Nairobi. They are doing that in our villages. Because they are happy, they are proud of you. Some of you here, your wife went to a church meeting. When you called, he reported back in the group. Oh, that's my husband. You know he's now in Nairobi. People have to know you are here. People have to know that you are no longer in Eritrea. You are now in Kenya. You are not in Gaborone. You are in Kenya. And even a Kenyan, when I'm in Botswana, I'll call you back when I come. I'm now in Botswana. Because you're proud. So, proud mothers. So she comes proud. Proud that my son has graduated with a degree in economics. You know what they want? My son works with this big bank. My son works with MTN. My son works with Airtel. My son works with Access Bank. My son works with Atijara Wafa Bank. My son works with Ethio Telecom. It's pride, man. It's pride. So they come there. I'm graduating. I tell them, mother, listen, when I'm giving a speech, when you go back home, pray for me not to get a job. I was graduating. Are we together? So since they have come for, you guys, I'm sure you hold graduation parties, more than us even. Especially Ethiopia, I know you hold big ones. So graduation parties, big people come, they fill up the hall, they dance. The last person to speak is usually the one graduating. That's the last person, eh? So I was the last one because I was graduating. Told them, I want you because you pray. When you go home, pray for me not to get a job. They were wondering, is it the microphone that is wrong? Or what's wrong with this fellow? I repeated, pray for me not to get a job. Because I had done my math. It's no way I'll become wealthy through employment. So I thought, why am I even starting with it? If there is no empirical evidence that you cannot get wealthy out of employment, why am I even starting? You know what we say? I first get a job, first to learn a few things, just to stabilize. I say, no stability, I don't want. Of all the ways I had known how to get rich, getting employed was one of the ways not to. So I decided I'm not. So I graduate there. Hey, I hear my classmates are getting jobs in the banks, in audit firms. I almost think I hadn't looked at this matter correctly. Maybe I need to get a job. But I refused. This is the point I'm trying to drive home. After that, started business. But the point I want to deliver is this. In my life, I have made more money passively than I have made money actively. So I'm not telling you about those books we read, Rich, What, this, that. I'm telling you about reality. I have made more money by investing than I have made more money by working for it. I have made more money passively than I have made money actively. The people, Jagote, Patrice Motsepe, there are people from South Africa here. Patrice Motsepe is rich because of what? African Edible Minerals. There is a bank, I think Time Bank, Sanlam. Okay, Sanlam is an insurance company. So who did Dagote ever sell a policy to? Patrice Motsepe, sorry. Who? Ever. I have an insurance policy, Patrice Motsepe sold it to me. Time Bank. I bank with Time Bank owned by Patrice Motsepe. He's the one who served me when I visited my bank branch. Nigeria, Globacom, Glo. So, I have a line I communicate with from Globacom. The owner, Mike Adenuga. Did he sell the SIM card to you? No. Did he go to fix the tower for your village to get a good connection? No. So what are they? What is party responsibility? Where are they getting money? Because they are billionaires, or the ones I've mentioned. The company they are associated with, who are they in those companies? They are investors in those companies. They are entrepreneurs. Their work is only to allocate capital. There is one gentleman I read in this December, his book, called Femi Otedora. He's a Nigerian. He's written a very nice book on basically life, but 80% of it is business. So he started a company, Forte Oil, other companies in between. Currently, he's one of the largest shareholders of one of the big banks in Nigeria. Okay. Here in Kenya, there is a bank we call Equity Bank. The person who leads it is called Dr. James Mwangi. He's the CEO. He has around 5% of that bank. 5%. The dividend he got last year from his 5% is $10 million US dollars. Dividend for 1 year, $10 million US dollars. $10 million US dollars dividend. He didn't sell shares, dividend. I want you to go with me. So, let me jump all the way. And I go to a country like DRC. The largest bank there is now Equity Bank, which is a Kenyan bank. That's the largest bank in DRC now. Who are the owners of these banks? We don't know them, but we say, but is it true really? This is what I want us to have in our mind, talk to our congregations, and propagate. Africa will not change. Out of Africans going to school with a singular aim of getting jobs when they graduate. You as a parent here, your child will not become wealthy by them going to University of Lagos, for going to University of Nairobi, for them to graduate and get jobs. You will be a normal parent. You will be a normal pastor when you encourage that young man to become a lawyer, to come and set up, to come and get employed in a law firm. You'll be a normal minister. For us to become abnormal, extraordinary, let's show people to do things beyond the ordinary that has ruled us for so long. People don't go into their schools to get jobs. People go into their schools to remove the cobwebs in their thinking, for them to become more efficient in decision making, to become creators of things. And also know this as the last thing, what I told you. There is more money to be made passively than there is money to be made actively. Let's know what happens in Africa, what our stock markets. You are a beacon of light to so many people. So get exposed also. Get exposed. When is the last time, I think I'm just talking. If you come from an agricultural dominant area, when is the last time you called an expert to talk to your congregation about agriculture? To talk to them about bookkeeping. Many of your congregation are slaves of their farms. They have 2 cows. Those 2 cows have employed them. It's not them who have employed the cows. They don't keep books. There is a time we went home. So we called my mother. with my sisters. All the time my mother couldn't come to Nairobi and spend a night. I'm going back to the village. Now who will give my cows this and that? Who will tend after our goats? So we called her, come with a book and pen. Can you write to us how many liters of milk you get per month? She wrote. Then after you take the milk to the dairy, what happens? Within the month, I take the feeds and the salt from that dairy. How much remains? This much remains. That what remains because our supper is not big. Do you buy Napier grass? Yes. How much? This much. We did the math and realized, us as the children of our mother who sent money every month, for her to buy sugar, for her to buy flour, for her to buy a good cloth or a good dress, we realized we sent money to our cows, not our mother. Because he spends all the money in the cows. And the cows are not profitable. How many of your congregation are engaged in being so busy, but they do nothing? We have gone fast to the congregation. Okay, how many of you? Before you go to the congregation, how many of you are engaged in that business? You are busy all the time, busy doing things, but when you sit down with a pen and paper, you realize you are a slave of your engagement. You don't get any profit out of it. You actually bleed cash in that engagement. You get stressed, but you remain a slave of whatever you do. So open your mind, learn about investments, the stock markets there are in your country, others in Africa, what are the returns. You may realize that it may start with you optimally allocating the money you have before you now go to the other people and propagate the same to them. All the people rich in the world, rich in Africa, is not out of doing things. It is out of allocating the money they have. It is out of passive investments. It is out of decision making in allocating money and less about actual work. Thank you very much, my brothers and sisters.